Well, hello there. This is Virtual the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. Today, I've got a really interesting game. Now, I've got the black pieces. Somehow, in this game I played about a month ago, I got matched to an opponent rated in the 800s. Sometimes happens on chess.com. But as we started the game, they played a very unusual opening. So they started with a3. Okay, e5, h3, take the full center, and this is the creepy crawly formation. One of the coolest names of an opening I think that exists, the creepy crawly formation. And this opening was played a lot by a British IM, Michael Basman. And he actually passed away a couple of years ago, and chess.com, if you look in the description, I've got a link to a blog article that's attached to this video. Includes a link to an obituary written by chess.com, as well as I've collected every single game that Michael Basman played in the 1990s where he played and opened with the creepy crawly formation. So Michael Basman was a very creative player and enjoyed playing weird and unorthodox openings, including the Grob, the Borg defense, the creepy crawly, and also the St. George defense as well. So how are we going to respond to the creepy crawly? Well, I'll show you a way that I play and we end up squishing the bug. Now, whenever the opponent plays an unusual sort of opening, it's rarely bad to follow opening principles. Take the full center with your pawns, then develop your pieces, knights before bishops if you can. Obviously, you do need to respond to what your opponent does. Usually you will end up with a very reasonable opening and potentially in a better position in the middle game. So they now play e3, makes sense. First knight. They now push down, trying to have an attack. Now that's already double defended. That's fine. Let's develop the other knight. And here they played something that was a little bit unexpected for me. They decided to immediately expand on the queen side with b4. And it looks like what they want to do is then to play b5 with an attack on my knight. Now, Stockfish at High Depth says that that's actually not scary, and for that the best move is immediately to challenge the center with d4. Here, I didn't really like that, so and one of the reasons is, of course, that the queen potentially now has that open light square diagonal with potential attack on the king if the knight is forced to move. So here, I decided to let's defend that. So a6. Now this wasn't quite as accurate as you can see. d4 was better, but this is on the assumption now that white will play b5. Of course they don't have to do so, but if they do that after captures, then I've got a semi-open a file defended by the rook, so the queen tactic no longer exists. In fact, in this position they should not play b5. They did, and it justified that move. That was a bit of an inaccuracy. White obviously has learnt a few lines in the creepy crawly, but not necessarily all the actual ideas that underlie it. And it's a fairly complicated opening to play well. So here, okay, captures, knight can now move, and here they decide to defend the b pawn. Probably not their best move. They make use of another pawn move while I am gaining quite a lot of developmental advantage. All right, bishop out. You can see Stockfish thinks that pushing some of the center pawns is better. They develop that knight, and you can see that's a mistake. It would have been better for them to immediately challenge my bishop, basically trading bishops. Here, I now have an attack on their knight. After captures, forces their knight to move. Here, they decide to give a check first. And in this position, because I thought I was substantially up on development and also still having this attack on the knight, that I would be willing to trade queens. Stockfish says, no, that wasn't necessary, but we decided to trade queens anyway. So captures, and here I moved my bishop back. That probably wasn't the best move. I thought about moving the king forward, but I thought that was a little bit too committal at the moment. I wanted to retain my ability to castle. Knight now jumps here out of the attack. It's okay. Notice, however, that the king is quite cramped, and notice the very, very minimal development that white has. All right, develop the other bishop, ready to castle. They now, potentially offer a trade. And here I didn't see a tactic. You can see that's a blunder, but it's only a blunder if I see the right move. And the correct move here is that I do not need to immediately take or move the bishop. I can play knight to b3, counter-attacking the rook. Now, they're basically forced to move the rook unless they want to lose the rook. And here I now get to take the pawn, captures, again with another attack on the rook. So they're forced to capture the knight with king, losing the right to castle, exposing the king in the center. And of course, the bishop is now hanging and chess continues. And at the end of this transformation, I have won a pawn, much, much better development. Their king stuck in the center, very exposed. And you can see black is substantially ahead. So that was the right sequence of moves. I didn't see that. I just decided to trade, captures. That wasn't a good move, and we sort of start to move towards equality. And this is one of the things that happens. I sort of noted this as I was playing the game, which is that if you're ahead on development, but you trade away too many pieces, the game starts to move back towards equality. And in fact, if you trade away all your pieces, of course, then neither of you are developed. If it's still materially balanced, it is equal. So here, that was a bit of a mistake. I still have a bit more development, still a little bit ahead. Now, attack on the rook, and here they made a mistake. This rook, best move is a2. Difficult to see, complicated to see. They played the move I thought they would, which is rook to d3, now with two attackers on my d4 pawn. However, that's a mistake, quite a serious mistake. And the reason for that is notice that white's queen side is completely smashed. It's denuded, there's no defenders, and with the king here, it has a potential back rank problem. So here, that's fine. I take that pawn on a4, and I am now threatening a back rank attack. White didn't appreciate the risk. No, they are only rated as a beginner in the 800s. They took the pawn. That's a blunder because rook a1 it's almost back rank checkmate. That forces them to block with the knight, and of course I take the knight for free. That knight move also allows the king a single safe square. I now short castles, ready to bring my rook on f8 into the attack as well, onto the e-file. And here they make another blunder, and it's a really interesting blunder because it's the same tactical pattern I have again. This time with a bit of rotational symmetry, rotate at 90 degrees now onto the e-file rather than the back rank. Rook e8 with check, and again, it's practically checkmate. The only way they can avoid mate is to block with the knight again, once again for free. That was too difficult for white to countenance, so they decided to come this way, run the king. Well, that's a blunder because now I've got knight to b2 with check, and a mating net has closed around the poor white king like a spider's web, closing in, and now crushed, squished. Good game, GG. The big takeaway from this game is that against unfamiliar openings, just play according to opening principles. Generally, you will not enter the middle game in a disadvantage. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.